Start video. Shit's super crooked. Damn, big waiting room. Let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. What kind of camera is that? It's a Logitech Brio. I don't know. Do you know how much it was? Tom said like $300. Yeah, I don't know. Weirdest look ever. Stand there and let me see if it's straight. I'm going straight.
A little higher.
Higher?
Higher, yeah, a little higher.
Is the whole board in it?
Yeah, now the whole board is in.
Good.
Okay, we're looking good.
Straight.
Are you ready for today's lecture?
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Hello, my name is Professor Jones. I'm just kidding.
Oh, hi, Professor Jones. It's so nice to meet you.
Jones actually also
Thank you very much, you guys. That'll end it for today, okay? Have a good one.
Can you read it? The only thing about this though is this in reverse?
No. Do these lights turn on?
No, because when we do film, it's too bright.
Oh, but like, can you turn them on in general?
They're on.
No, those.
We took the balls out.
Oh, because the other day I was in here and I was like, I don't choose.
There's no balls.
I think it's like, I was like, no one was like the opposite on Sunday night, and I was like, I just want the lights on, you know? All of them.
All right, guys.
What's your schedule looking like there? What we writing? Open all day.
It's a work in progress.
Fill it out.
Today?
You were pitching one day, and I was trying to hold this up to you, like, remember what that one, like, I don't know, it was a little bit ago.
Tell me he's gonna get started in a minute, guys.
And I was like,
Shit, this ain't good.
I have questions for this.
Isn't that funny? I was just trying to be supportive.
You might be able to get one. Oh, the Spanish speaker.
Yeah. I was like.
Start that one question.
No, you don't have to apologize.
Yeah,
I
bro.
thought it was funny.
You're
Just like,
straight to the
you know what I mean?
story.
No, of course. No, it was when you would like kind of like look up or when you were like, oh, like pulling up
Then
something.
you'll get
I was
another
trying to be like.
15-minute window for a question. I know. I really, in reality, I have like 4 questions available.
Yeah.
Off the truth.
Uh-oh.
I'm pushing at 5.
Is that who I think it is?
Buddy. Yeah, that's who it is. That's who you think it is.
It is?
That's what shooting out to.
Getting swole.
Doing double cuts. Oh, yeah. That's what we're doing.
Live.
We are live.
This is old schedules.
All right. So, what do we got cooking today, guys? Any questions?
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions they lined up for the meeting today? What's that? Yes. All right, thank you. Drew's gonna give us a 10-minute warning when we have to end.
Uh-oh.
To come and yank us off of one of those big long, candy cane things. So what I want to start with questions, and I got the whiteboard here, so
Yeah.
we can break some numbers down, and we can break some stuff down on the whiteboard, do some chalk talk if you want.
Make sure you guys take good notes.
Absolutely.
The takers and money makers.
Come here, show everybody what you got.
Oh.
Like, no worries.
It's, Gio's just walking around the office carrying his awards around.
I found this. I had to, kiss it a couple of times, and if anybody wants to touch it, just let me know.
Just rub it for good luck.
Yeah. Bro, you want to rub? Good luck. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys.
Those are fingerprints on my trophy.
I didn't clean it up. So yeah, we could go over some questions if you guys have any. Obviously, that's what the time is for. I'm not just gonna go on some rants and tangents, but I could just talk whatever. I could just go into any tangent you wanted me to go into, and I'll go into it.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you're calling
Got a
will
question
kids and, they answer and they say they already got a will set up through their lawyer, do you just, how do you rebuttal that? I usually try and bring up, the other
Yeah,
side
so that to me is just I don't really think that should happen very often, because that's like me telling you to go pick up some milk, right? And then you go pick the milk up, you show up to my house, and I'm like, I got a whole fridge of milk here. Why'd you bring me milk?
Yeah.
Didn't you just tell me, right? So it's like, why did they even request a will kit if they already have a will set up?
Yeah.
So I don't think that really should happen very much. And if it did happen to me, I would flip a reason to obviously the number one line you want to use is you want to say, that's exactly why I'm calling, right? And sometimes, guys, I don't even know what I'm going to say next. But I know I got to start somewhere, right? And it's better to start with that than, so you already have a will, now you're getting into a whole car. So that's exactly why we're calling. Most of our members that we meet with right now, they actually have a formal will set up. This is your free will kit. So it's like having a extra copy for your whole entire family to have. It's more accessible, and what's the nice thing, it doesn't cost you anything at all. So it's always better to have, this stuff, in two places rather than one.
Right.
I just made that up right now. But if I got a guy on the phone, I would, have to say something, but hey, if that worked, I would, hey, I got the great one. Anytime we come across this, let's go with this one. That's exactly why I'm calling. Most members that we're meeting with right now, they actually have the formal will set up. That probably cost you money. You probably had to go through a lawyer and all that. So this gives us the family a second place to have that information. They always say something like this, you want to leave it up to chance. And that's why a lot of families have these, because this is a lot more accessible. They're able to keep it on their person, and they can have multiple copies they're able to distribute to their family members. Plus, when's the last time you had your will updated, Joe? A lot of people don't update those things. I met with a family the other day. They put it in place 20 years ago, and everything completely changed. And it was literally, we saved their whole entire estate. So when you hit them with that, and then you hit them with like a personal story about how a guy had a will already set up, and you're able to meet with him and found different ways for him to secure his estate better, and saved him hundreds of thousands of dollars of headaches and taxes and all that. So I'm not saying I can do that for you, but a lot of our families, after we meet with them, they feel a lot more secure and everything. Plus, there's a lot of other great benefits that come along with it, not just the will kit. So anytime people give you pushback, you can definitely come back with a good response, okay? I go shopping sometimes, and I deal with salespeople, right? I'm like, look at this guy, he's a salesperson, right? So I go start shopping around, and he comes over and tries to sell me something, especially the guys at like a Brookstone. They're trying to sell me on the massage chair. You ever sit in the Brookstone massage chair? I mean, it sold itself. Him coming over to sell it probably wanted me to buy it less. I was enjoying it, relaxing. He's over asking, so how often do you get massages? Come on, bro. But so what I do is when people try and sell me stuff, I give them pushback just to see what level of a salesperson they are and how much of a professional they are. And if they handle it professionally, I'll start, talking to them, and I'll give them a chance to sell me on it. Even if I don't really even, need it that much, I'll give them a chance to really sell me. So sometimes I'll give people a pushback well, I can probably just go up the street and get it cheaper anyways. And I just want to hear like what his rebuttal is. And I know the rebuttal that he gives me, if he's a professional, is what he was trained to say. And it was given to him by somebody who's a good sales trainer, you know? And I'm like, this company must have a pretty good system, you know, for training their people. This guy comes over, he's sharp, he's using my, now what's your name? Tom? So Tommy, he's using my name. You know, when you catch those guys and those girls that are out there and you say your name, they catch your name and now they start using it in the conversation, right? I could already tell they have some good sales training. And you want to know what? I trust those people more. You would think that you wouldn't. You're like, oh, this guy's a little salesperson. He's a salesperson. He's trying to sell me. No, this guy must obviously know his craft inside and out. I would rather buy a car from this person. I'd rather buy the phone. I'd rather buy the program. I'd rather buy the security protection for my house. You know how much people spend on the security protection for their houses? We should look that up right now. I won't do it. We'll keep going, but somebody on the call help us out. What's the average price of a family's home security system? There's Guardian Protection in Pittsburgh. We have ADT out here. I don't even know what I pay. They just take the money out of my account. It guarantees at least $40 a month though.
It's like 60 bucks.
Looks like average costs for monitoring services range from 15 to 35 per month.
Monitoring services 15 to 35.
Upfront cost is range from 100 to 250, and monthly security equipment costs range from 10 to 35. So, yeah, I mean, probably like 60, 70 bucks per month plus.
So adding it up, 60 to 70 bucks a month plus the initial couple $100 setup fee, right?
Yeah.
So think about that. People pay that type of money, $60 to $70 a month to what? Protect what? To protect their family from what?
Burglars.
A burglar. What are the chances of that happening?
Low. All depending where you live.
Yeah. Right? Depending on where you live. Well, statistically, I think it's, I don't even know what it is, to be honest. I don't want to throw these numbers out there. I really don't. But when I did do some research on it, it was like, I think it was like, I don't know, 1 out of 300 like homes have a chance of getting burglarized in the course of their life or something like that. So we're protecting ourselves for something that's going to be like 1 out of 300 chance of ever happening to protect our family. And when you're talking about life insurance, that's a 1 out of what chance, Joe, Mary? 100%. If you think about it, that's a 1 out. I don't know many people who got out of this place alive, right? You know, so and you see how you say it, right? There's no, and there's really only 2 guarantees in life, Joe and Mary. There's what? There's death and taxes, right? You know, I know some people who got around paying their taxes before, but I never met anybody who got around dying. And that's where you could flip it to, you could make a joke. You could literally do one of these highs to low emotional swings with the people when you deliver that. Because you could be like, I mean, you think about it, Joan, there's only 2 guarantees in life. You like smile and you're joking, right? What do they say they are? There's death and taxes, right? And I say taxes like that just because when I started in the financial industry, I was coached by this guy named Todd Murata. And he always, when he's this big Italian guy, and he was like 55 years old, white, black and white, slick back hair, and there's 2 things. There's death and taxes. He always say taxes like that. So like the people when they heard it, because we wanted to always like be like we're helping them fight against taxes, you know, at the end of the day. So we always were saying like taxes are bad. You don't want taxes, right? So we always would show them how we're going to save money on taxes, right? And I can show you today a little trick if you guys want to see. It's something you're probably not going to walk into home and say, but it's definitely some solid knowledge that you can have to just know that you're just this much higher on the educational scale when it comes to this realm. Now, if I met with a mechanic, I'm down here and the mechanic is up there. When with the car, I'm sitting there like this. Whatever you say. Yep, gaskets, water coolers, heaters, fan belts, control arms, sure, whatever you say. You feel me? Right? Life insurance, though, he should be down here and we're up there. You know what I mean? So when you know what you're talking about, when I was a financial advisor, if I gave somebody the wrong advice, I could really hurt their family, right? Same thing in this business. you know? So that's why, you know, they look at us as what's called a fiduciary to the public. We're a fiduciary to the public. You know, so you have to understand you have a fiduciary responsibility to them to make sure you're always giving them the right, you know, advice. So anyways, but the emotional high, I didn't even get to it. You say, so what's the two guarantees, like death and what, taxes? Okay, so now Joe, I actually, and you could even say like, because when I was from Pittsburgh, people knew the area. So like, I'm actually from the Keys Rocks, grew up in the Bottoms. So I know a couple people who got around paying their taxes before, if you know what I mean, right? But Joe and Mary, come to think of it, and then you get serious, and I mean, and I get serious thinking about this. I'm like, dude, yeah, like, but Joe, Mary, if you think about it, I've never met anybody who got around dying, right? So just by hitting them right there, you know, you can let them know that. So, anyways, when you get hit with these rebuttals, you have to have a strong, not just a systematic way of coming back to it. So on the phones, I don't even know what I was going to say. I just knew this. First thing I said, that's exactly why I'm calling. You know, so you already know that, right? And when they say, well, I already have the coverage through work when you're sitting in the home, right? That's what you say. That's exactly why we're here, right? That's exactly, when they give you a rebuttal, you can just say, that's exactly why we're here. That's exactly why I'm calling. You know, and then you just follow it up with something, and then you tell a personal story, like a little side story. Like for instance, I was calling a POS one time, POS, and they're like, I don't even know, why do I need to meet with you? My coverage is fine. You know, I already know what I got, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, that's, you know, I said, sure, you know, I understand where you're coming from. But Joe, you know, or Mary, I think a guy whose name was Joe. So I said, so Joe, you know, I actually met with a family recently, and the gentleman was in the same boat. He didn't really think he needed to meet with us, but he ended up meeting with us anyways, because I had to make sure they had all the proper claim forms. And, you know, I tell them that we've updated the claim forms. We need to make sure, God forbid, something happens to you, your family has the proper claim forms so that they can file a claim on the money. You know, and we need to make sure you know where your money's going. But Joe, I actually met with the family about a week ago, and the gentleman didn't even realize it, but he had a whole bunch of money coming to him and his family and didn't even know about it. And I was able to help his family get a couple extra $1,000. So, you know, I'm not sure, you know, if that's set up for you like that, but that's why we need to meet with our members, because you might even have some money coming to you. So when I tell them a quick story about how I was either able to get a family some money or how I was able to save a family some money real quick. So, you know, you might be spending money on things that you might not even need to be spending money on right now. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. Let's meet and talk about it. Right? I was able to help a family, you know, actually save a lot of money. You know, I was able to help a family get a whole bunch of money. I was able to help them, you know, whatever it may be. And you know, that they'll be more likely to book that appointment with you, you know? So I don't know, hopefully that helps a little bit, you know, on those. But once again, it's a will kit that said that they already have a will in place. That, you know, doesn't even make sense.
I got that too though a few times, and a lot of times they forget about it too. Like I don't remember calling, I don't remember putting this or anything, and then they just hang up.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
Yeah, so those are the ones you can door knock as well. You know, you can always door knock those. All right, what else we got? Anything else?
So for like, let's say POSs, now if they had a bad experience with a representative from a different agency, just a really bad experience, how would you go about mending that relationship? So obviously you want to make sure they keep on, so you're not ruining someone else's renewals, but you also want to make sure that they get sold again.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, if they're upset with the agent, that doesn't mean they're upset with the company.
Yeah.
You know, and people understand that. So, you know, but also you're not going to be able to, you know, at the end of the day, you said you want to sell more. You're not going to be able to sell them more unless they're sold on what they have,
right,
and why they have it, and the company that they're with. You know, so that's your sales, and your job is always, no matter what, guys, even after they buy from you, there's every time you talk to your client, you got to resell them again.
Yeah.
You know, and throughout your presentation, it has got to be a constant building up of why you're there, building up the company, pointing things out to them. You can see why all the members are excited about this, Joe. You can see why your president made this, available to all the members, right? Adding things in there like tie downs, building up the company, building up the reason why you're there, because in their minds, they're trying to downplay you and downplay why you're there. So if I had to meet, well, number one, you have to meet with this person. And when you meet with them, you got to resell the deal. You got to resell them. That's all. But it shouldn't be that hard because they already bought once. So it's not as hard as selling somebody from the beginning, right? And then once they meet you, they're going to completely forget about that person. I don't talk about that person. I don't bring that person up.
Right.
I don't even. You know what I mean? I like me trying to date a new girl, but I'm talking about their ex-boyfriend all the time.
Yeah.
Think about that, right?
Sure.
Never even talk about that shit once, ever.
Right.
Right? You don't even want them to even think about that. Because first of all, if it was a bad situation, right, and it's their ex, that's just two negative things to be shingling out for not even one split second.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even bring that up once. I would just completely focus on, them, serving them, building up them, the reason why they bought it, how smart they were to make the decision. And building up the company and because they're smart, because they're all the other people with the company, you just build the company up and serve them, and show them how, you're not there to sell them, you're there to serve them, and just by doing that, they're going to know that you're different than the other person.
Oh, 100%.
You'll stand out, right? So the key is just getting in front of them and serving the client. And they'll see that. And when you meet with a POS, they already have life insurance. They're already sold on a company. And I could go into it's probably 17 different reasons why a POS are the greatest leads ever.
Yeah.
They're insurable. They got bank accounts. They trust the company. It's great. But when you meet with a POS, you have to be more like a financial advisor and less like a salesperson. This is going to be more of a consultative sell, I feel like, than more of selling them, straight from the rip. They already bought the company now, so we have to consult, resell them on the company, resell them on the reason why they bought it. The 3 questions you ask all policyholders, and let's just say that you met somebody and they're not a policyholder with our company, guys, but they're a policyholder with another company. I still would get out on the table. I'd say, okay, so what type of coverage do you have? Pop quiz. So if it's a POS and they're like, so what do I have? Do I have, I have what? I have like 100,000 a whole life, don't I? I'm like, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, there's actually gonna be a little quiz here. I'm gonna quiz you on, right? And don't let them make you tell you what they have right when you walk in the door for these POS. They're gonna try and take control. And that's the best. I love when they do that because that's a chance for me to be like, slow down, bub. I'm in control, right? When we get there, we'll get there. I like when they do that because it's a chance for me to kind of, check them real quick, and let them know I'm in control. We'll get there. So then when you get there and you ask them, say, so now, Joe, right? And this is usually after I break down the difference between whole life and term. So I'll say, no, Joe and Mary, do you guys know the difference between whole life and term, right? Or you guys know the difference between whole life and term, right? And they'll be like, no, or they'll be like, yeah. And no matter what they say, I'll say, well, let's just make sure we're on the same page. Let's just go over real quick just to make sure we're on the same page. And then I go over to this with whole life and term. I say, all right, now, Joe and Mary, here's the question I have for you, all right? Pop quiz now is, what type of coverage do you think you have? And they'll be like, whole life, right? Hopefully whole life. So 3 questions you ask all policyholders after you go over whole life and term. And it's great. You have the information right there. So you say whole life, and they'll be like, whole life, right? And whatever it is you tell them, well, actually, Joe, you have whole life and you have accidental death benefit attached to that. So you actually have 2 types of life insurance. Now, the second question is how much coverage do you think you have? See how I'm saying, do you think you have? And then they're like, oh, I got 100,000, right? and it's always a bigger number than whatever they have. I'm like, actually, you have a $30,000, okay, of whole life coverage, and you have $100,000 of accidental death benefit. So you're kind of right. You have 100,000. If you pass away of an accident, you'll have 100,000 of accidental plus 30,000 of whole life. So you really have 130. But for normal, if you pass away, you have 30,000 of whole life, and that's in place forever. So that's great that you got that in place there, Joe. Now, the third question, probably the most important here, is why did you take this coverage out? And a lot of them will look at you and they're not understanding that question. So then I rephrase it for them again. And I'll say, you know, you could even say, in other words, Joe, if you were to, or when you pass away, what is this money going to be used for? Mary, when Joe passes away, what is this money going to be used for? What would you use this 30,000 for? And they'll tell you, oh, well, we were going to use it for, that was probably for maybe to take care of the mortgage, maybe. I say, well, what's your mortgage? I'm like, it's 100. I'm like, well, that's probably going to take care of the mortgage. You know, I'll figure. So to take care of the funeral, okay, great. So we use that 30,000 to take care of the funeral. Then now what do you know? Now you know that when they die, the funeral's pretty much taken care of, right? But what's not taken care of is all the other stuff. And we basically just spent the money. That's called spending the life insurance. You want to spend that money. You spend all their life insurance for them. And you need to spend, because you have to walk them through mentally what is really going to happen if, God forbid, he did pass away tomorrow. It is your job to be in that home. Literally, this is our number one job. You want me to keep it simple for us today, guys? We could probably end after this, literally. Our job is to get in front of these people, which we're masters of doing, and we're getting better and better and better at getting in front of people. And it's always going to be an uphill battle, okay? We chose to fight the good fight. We're going to be fighting an uphill battle forever. We're going to be pushing rocks up hills, basically, all right? That's what we signed up for, all right? So we're always going to be scratching clawing to try and get in front of as many clients as possible. And the people that work on referrals are going to have an easier time than doing that. It might be harder to get on the referrals mentally, but it's actually easier when you're on. I mean, Wright's shaking his head right there because he wrote freaking two referrals for like $5,000 last week. So, but getting in front of people is the number one thing. Now, after we get in front of people, really what we have to do, if you could just summarize it, is you have to make them, you basically have to say, like literally, you have to go like this, like, so Joe and Mary, stick with me on this now, all right? This is tough. But Mary, I really want you to think about this. Joe's no longer here anymore. God forbid, everybody that goes to sleep last night was not guaranteed to wake up this morning. Everybody who went to work today is not guaranteed to come back home, right? God forbid Joe's no longer here, he passes away, right? We wake up tomorrow. I want you to just think about this for a second. What happens? There's a lot that happens, but for today's sake, let's talk about financially. What's the first thing we're going to do? She's probably have to put the funeral in place. Where are we going to get the money? Where are we going to call? She's like, well, he does have, coverage through work, right? I'm like, how much is that? So it's like 20,000. Like, okay, so you would use the 20,000 for what, the funeral? Okay, now what would we do next? Let's think about this, right? What would we do next, Mary? And if you can make them physically, like mentally realize the physical differences from when he's here than when he's not here, the monetary financial differences that are here, and then these burdens that are quickly going to be like literally right on her plate. And it's hard for me to do this. You don't want to have these conversations with people, but you have to think that if you have that conversation with her there, she makes the adjustments that need to be adjusted. Now she doesn't have to worry about it afterwards, right? It's like, I don't want to have this conversation, but I'd rather have it with my wife while while I'm alive, and we could figure out before she has to figure it out before I pass away. And now she has to have this conversation for the first time by herself, right? So let's have this conversation first with them so they can walk themselves through that. And if you don't do nothing else, but just get them to take even a minute and just get a real good understanding of what's going to be like, you're going to change their whole entire perspective forever, although they never forget you. They'll never forget that person that showed up, that girl that showed up at my house, literally, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it, you know, and whether they bought it or not. So, and just to go off that, you know, a little bit more, stories, you know, stories sell. I'm thinking like, what are some great ways to try and get that across to them is stories. Remember, telling is not selling. So when you get in front of people, you don't want to just be telling them and like, you don't want it to be like a big orientation, you know, where they're sitting there and you're just talking at them the whole time and it's just you talking at them. It has to be a conversation. You got to be talking with them. So questions sell, Telling is not selling. So for a good example of that would be, you know, Joe, when you quit, get fired, or retire, you lose all of your benefits because they're not permanent. You know, when you work for a company, they give everybody benefits. But when you leave that company, you lose all those benefits. Though you quit, get fired, or retire, 90 days later, they typically all go away. See how I just told that to somebody, right? I can do the same exact thing without telling. I can flip that into a way where it's more of a form of a question that incorporates them having to communicate back with me, you know? And people don't like to ask questions because they're like, well, I don't know what they're going to say. If you ask the right questions the right way, you're always going to get the right answers. You know, and the most successful people are the ones that are out there getting all those right answers. And the right answer at the end of your presentation is what? Yes. You know? So you say to them, so Joe and Mary, you know, when you work with a company, like most companies give all their employees benefits. You familiar with how that works, right? Well, what typically happens if you ever leave that company for any reason? What typically happens to those benefits? Joe, do you know what happens?
Go away.
They go away, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you quit, get fired, or retire. What happens?
They're gone.
They're gone, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest problems and biggest concerns that they had for all the members. And that's actually why your president's contracted with us. And, you know, that's why I'm here. Like I said, my name's Tommy. I'll be here to take care of you guys today, answer all your questions. You know, I see you didn't have your American income paperwork filed or taken care of. So I can help you get that filled out today as well. You know, and we can get you set up with your additional benefits. You know, I deliver some line like that afterwards. But the beginning part is the important part, is how we formed it as a question versus a telling. You see how you can do that? So you want to be kind of masters of doing that when you're meeting with the people. So what we're we going over now? Stories sell. So if you're gonna tell, like telling's not selling, but if you're gonna tell what?
Story.
Tell a story. Tell a story. Those are good. People like to hear them. You know, it's easy for people to understand, follow, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we kind of went on a tangent. Did we answer the question that was asked?
Yeah,
We answered it?
yeah,
Okay. You're satisfied with that?
yeah, no, definitely.
I had another question.
Yep, we got another one here.
How do you, like, you know, at the end, you're trying to close them and they want to like shop around, or they don't, you know, they want to think about it because they want to, maybe they are in the market already and like they want to look at, compare prices and all that stuff, like.
Yeah. So that people say they want to think about it, they want to shop around. You know, so number one is just, hey, that's why we practice our closes. That is why we practice our closes. We don't practice our closes for the person at the end that they're like, yes, sure, and they're just like, they buy. We practice our closes for the ones that, you know, that don't. So we got to know, you know, that I want to think about it, close, you know, and I would handle that. And then I remind people after that. I tell them, you know, so Joe, you know, I understand you want to think about it, And, I'm the same way, me and my wife would always like to make sure we're making the right decisions, but what they found, if you think about it, Joe, and just so you know that, before these benefits were ever even brought out to your organization, we work with almost like 40,000 different organizations, and every organization that we work with, they have a financial advisor that checks over these benefits to make sure they're the best benefits for all their members. And what they do is every year they actually triple check these benefits. So we have almost 40,000 different organizations and financial advisors that have kind of triple check these benefits. So what's the nice thing is that's why all the members, that's why all the organization's presidents are confident in the benefits and doing it on an enrollment basis like this, is because they've pretty much checked these benefits almost 100,000 times before they even came out here and brought them to you. So I know sometimes it feels like you want to think about it, but if you really think about it, Joe, they already thought about it for us and have done all that work to make sure that. So that's why they set up on an enrollment basis, and they ask, if it does make sense today, they do want you to enroll today during your service period, and if it doesn't make sense, they'll ask you to not enroll. But in your situation, Joe, looking, your need and where you're at right now, I'm not saying, you don't have nothing in place. That, one day you are going to pass away. You're going to need to make sure the funeral and final expenses are protected. I can pretty much look you in the eye right now and guarantee you there is no better program on planet Earth for your funeral and final arrangements than this program right here that they have set up for you. If there was, we would be here talking about that right now. So, I'll pull out my big guns and flex on them a little bit, and let them know, like, hey, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Right? You want to go date around? I'm Miss America. Like, let me just remind you that I just won Miss America. I was on the cover of this, I'm like the nicest person in the world. Plus I graduated cum laude. You know what I'm saying? Your mom loves me. What are you talking about? You want to go date around right now? I would just start flexing on. I'm just listing off like all the reasons why I'm making a bad choice right now. You're missing out on the greatest opportunity your family's ever had. Right? And throw it all on the table, and they'll appreciate that though, if you're candid and honest with them. And then the best thing you can always tell them is, can I be real with you? Would you mind? Can I be real with you guys? Can I be honest with you? If you were my mom and dad, this is what I would tell you. And just tell them, right? So listen, mom, dad, you can go shop around all you want. It's gonna be a waste of your time. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to go all the way back through this whole entire process again. Right? We already have all the paperwork filled out for you, right? So at least what we can do today is get you a foot in the door with the base program, right? And then later on down the line, you can make any adjustments to it. We can make any changes we can add on. But while we're here today, let's make sure we at least get your foot in the door, okay? But keep it comfortable for you at the same time, right? And then sometimes I say, why do you really want to think about it? And you want to think about it? How about this? I'll step out for a minute. I actually going to call one of my next clients that I have to meet with, right? And I'll step back in. You guys can talk about it a little bit. Step back out, step back in, right? Hop off. I'll step out of the room on the Zoom. You guys can mute me. You could just mute me like my wife likes to do. If she had a mute button like this, she probably wishes she had one, so you could test it out. So you could mute me for maybe a couple minutes. And then I can come back on. And then I'll be sitting there thinking like, all right, well, next time I'm going to ask them, what you guys should do is if you're doing presentations in your home, you should have a fire extinguisher. You should have props. I mean, I would have fun with this stuff. I'd have fun with it. Like, cause I'm ready to go. Like, I don't want to use my props. I'm not going to be selling them off of props, but if they want to go with me, I'll go with them. I'm going to have cheesecake. I'm going to have coffee. I'm going to have a Starbucks coffee there. I'm going to have cheesecake from where? Cheesecake Factory. I'm going to have a fire extinguisher. I'm going to have my gun collection right there, right? And then I'm going to have pictures of my family, right? I'm going to say, you want to know what I do? I have guns to protect what? My family. I have a fire extinguisher to protect what? My family. You see this sign that's in my yard? I took it here. This says Guardian Protection. It says this house is protected by ADT. I have this to what? Protect my family, right? Because these are the most important people in the world to me. Right? But before I even do all that, before I buy cheesecake, before I drink coffee, before I do anything, you want to know what they say, Joe? They say the first thing you do is you protect your family with life insurance. Then everything else. Literally, after you have life insurance for your family, then you can literally do whatever you want. Cheesecake, coffee, car insurance, homeowners insurance, burglary insurance, cell phone insurance, pet insurance. You do all that. You could go skydiving. You can literally do whatever you want. Buy a motorcycle, take them on vacations, go on the roller coasters, cotton candy. What do you like to get when you go to the thing, Joe and Mary? I'm a sucker for the what's the funnel cakes. I can't even walk by a funnel cake place without stopping at one of those. But you could all the funnel cake you want. But the first thing you have to do is you protect your family with life insurance. And then after that, everything else. Everything and anything. I would have all them props sitting right there. And I'm like, wow, I never met a guy like this, right? I'm buying. You gotta be a little different, a little bit. You definitely don't want to be like Carrot Top and having a bag of tricks or pulling out a bunch of bag of tricks or something like that, you know. But it's a serious conversation, you know. So you don't want to make a joke about it, right? But all that stuff is real, you know, real. And I'm just coming off the top of my head right now. If we had if I sat there and really thought about, you know, what I'm going to be pulling out for these people, I would have it all right there planned out. And whatever background you're doing your presentations in should be well thought out. You know, you have a screen there, you know, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, this drives me crazy, but you guys can see the screen. It's like just a little bit crooked, you know, it just would drive me absolutely nuts if I was doing a presentation for clients and the top of the screen, like this line would have to be perfectly straight and it would have to be centered and everything, just so you know, okay? But Drew set this up, so I'll blame him. No, but yeah, I would definitely, like if I was using this would be perfectly centered. The lighting will be way better than this. I'd have lights coming from this direction, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm giving a presentation where, you know, the true money's on the line, or these clients, you know, this is their one opportunity. This is their one chance ever to get life insurance. You know, like how many times are they really going to do this? They don't have time for this. Nobody's calling them. I mean, think about it. Like, how hard was it for you to get them on the phone? And you're the best. So, I mean, good luck to all these other people who are trying to get in front of them, you know? So I look at it as this is their one prime opportunity. I gotta be on point for them. So, you know, if you take anything from today, you know, we could just think about, we got this screen here, we're virtual. You got to fill that screen strategically exactly how you want it to be filled. You know, now if this was an in-home presentation, you know, do I want my whole body? You know, do I want to be more, I probably want to be closer where I can be more intimate, you know, with them. You know, they can see my face a little bit more. Talking into the camera is way better than talking into that. Makes huge difference. And because it's not what you say, but how you say it. You don't want your words to fall on deaf ears. So when you look at them right into the camera, it makes a bigger impact on saying those words too, right? Just like when you look at somebody in their eyes. We don't have that opportunity right now, which is tough. So that's the best way you can, you know, kind of handle that, make up for that. And then how would you fill it with stuff in the background and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, Drew's probably going to come in here any minute and kick us out. But did that answer the question? I hope answered a little bit there. Right. So the last thing I'm going to hit on is just taxes. If we get it before Drew comes in here, is remember that there's only 3 places that people can put their money to have tax-free income in retirement. So when you invest your money for retirement, you can put it into 3 different places. Okay. You can put your money up here, and what happens is you put the money in after tax. Okay. After tax. What's after tax mean? Yeah, it means you got your paycheck, you paid your taxes on it, the money went into your checking account, and now you took that money and you invested it into stuff, right? After you invest that money into stuff, right, it's going to come back to you like this, tax-free. Where can you put after-tax money, invest it, and it can come back to you tax-free? Roth IRA, Roth IRA. Not the traditional, the Roth IRA is the number one.
Municipal bonds.
Municipal bonds, good job, Raph. They're called munis. They're triple tax exempt. So if you buy a municipal bond, you don't have to pay local taxes, you don't have to pay state taxes, and you don't have to pay federal taxes. Municipal bonds are triple tax exempt. Make you sound smart, right? I'm trying to make you guys sound smart. This has nothing to do with really anything. These clients aren't doing this stuff, you know? So municipal bonds, and then what's the third thing?
Life insurance.
CVLI, cash value life insurance. So those are the three places you can put your money. You put it in, pay your taxes, put it in, and never pay taxes on the money ever again, and it grows and grows and grows. You pull the money out, you get it all, right? Now, the second way we can do this, guys, is we can take pre-tax money, right? Put it in, and then when it comes out, it's fully taxed. So this is money, we get the money today, and I don't pay any taxes on it. It grows, I don't pay any taxes on it. But when I pull the money out and I want to use it, I have to what? Pay taxes on it, right? So this is like, don't pay now, pay later. This is pay now, don't pay later. Why would somebody want to use a Roth? Why would somebody want to use this? Well, think about it. If you're in a low tax bracket today, pay taxes on that money today. Put it in the Roth, and then later on, when you're in a high tax bracket, don't matter, I got all my money tax free, right? Now, if you're in a high tax bracket today, chances are you make a lot of money. So you probably can't even use a Roth. When you make a lot of money, you don't like to use a Roth anymore. So then you can start putting it into pre-tax investments, lower your taxes today on that money, and then defer your taxes till later. What are these investments?
Make capital gains on like stock.
No, this is pre-tax money. 401ks, IRAs, traditional IRAs, SEP IRAs, simple IRAs. So when you get your IRA or your 401k set up, when you pay money into that, it goes in your tax deferred. And then you pay all the money when it comes out. Okay. And then the last way, what you were talking about, you can put your after-tax dollars, again, after tax again, just like we talked about up there. But this is going to go into an investment that's partially taxed. Partially taxed. What you're going to be taxed on here is, let's say you get your money, you pay your taxes, right? Now you got your money in your checkbook, and what do you do with it? You go online and you buy stock, right? And that stock grows, and then you sell the stock. Guess what you have to do? You have to pay taxes on what? On just the gains, right? So that's partially taxed. You don't have tax on all the money invested, just partially taxed. The interest in your checking account, your savings account, the 0.002%, you get taxed on that at the end of the year. Your taxes on interest, on capital gains. Now, capital gains, you get taxed two ways, short-term and long-term. Short-term capital gain tax is what? Income rate. Whatever income rate you're at, you get taxed for short-term capital gains on that. Long-term capital gains, I believe, is still 15%. I'm not sure if it changed, but that's what it was when I was in the game. So does this make sense so far? So this is buying like stocks. This is your checking account. This is a CD at the bank. You know, that's stuff like that, right? So does everything make sense so far? All right. So what you want to think about now, guys, is where's everybody's money for retirement? Over here. They're telling you to put your money into what? 401k? Heck yeah. Where do you think all your mom and dad and aunt and uncle's money has been putting for the last 20, 30 years? Every financial advisor, everybody's telling them what? Put your money into the 401k. So the 401k, oh, a bunch of money over here, a whole bunch of money, everybody's money, right? Now, after they get their paycheck, some of them might have a little bit of stock account or something over here, right? Checking account money, savings account money. How many people up here, how much money do you think people have up here right now? Nothing. For retirement, nothing. Just barely, it's a little bit, okay? So now you go to retire, all your money is in a taxable position. So when you go to retire, you want to live off $100,000 a year, right? Guess what you have to pull out of here? 130, because why? Because you got to pay 30 and what? That's not how we say it. Taxes. You got to pay 30,000 in taxes. So because it's all here, right? There's no balance. So now, if you have more of a balanced portfolio and have more control from a tax standpoint, this is a way to set you up to have more control from a tax standpoint, right? Now you're more balanced. Now what'll happen is to live off that 100,000, you still have to pull 110,000, but now you're gonna only pay 10,000 in what? Now, when you retire, you're gonna retire at 65, and you're gonna live to be what? 95? Okay, that's 30 years. So over 30 years of retirement, you're gonna save $20,000 a year. $20,000 a year for what? 10 years, that's 200, 300, or 600, that's $600,000 in tax money that's gonna be going to you and not the government. If we're able to do that. How are we gonna get you to do that? We're gonna have you more balanced. So instead of pulling all 130 from over here, what we'll do is we'll pull maybe 80 from over here. We'll pull maybe 30 from over here and 10 from over here. And we'll pull your 110, but check it out. Now, when you're over here, guess what your tax bracket is? You're pulling 130 from here, so you're taxed on all 130. So guess what tax bracket you're in? You're in a $130,000 tax bracket, right? So you're gonna be in a higher tax bracket on a higher amount. Over here, when you're pulling 80, guess what tax bracket you're in now? You're in an $80,000 tax bracket. So you're paying a lower amount on a lower percentage on a lower amount of money. Does that make sense, Joe and Mary? Right? So by putting yourself in position from a tax standpoint proactively is going to put you in control later on down the line. You seem like a pretty smart person, Joe. You're a teacher, right? So what we do is we help our clients get set up financially ahead of time. And really the best way to accomplish this is through the cash value life insurance, because right now your family, if you pass away, your family needs the life insurance, right? But also in the future, what do you need? Tax-free money, right? So this helps cover both. Two major problems are being covered today, Joe and Mary. Thank you very much.
Can they ever tax the insurance if it's like accidental or term? Is it only the cash value that they can't tax?
They can't tax the death benefit. All death benefit is paid tax-free. Tax-free. The death benefit is paid tax-free. When you take the cash out of your life insurance, that's borrowing against your policy. So you don't pay any taxes on that either.
So I had a client, I had a referral that ended up having a policy, and she told